Hello and welcome. My name is Dustin, and in this video lesson I'll be teaching you how to play the saxophone. We'll be going through the parts of the instrument, how to set it up properly, your correct embouchure, so putting your mouth on the mouthpiece in the right way, learning your first 5 notes, and at the very end I'll teach you how to play some blues on the saxophone. So you'll learn some jazz. It'll be a lot of fun. Alright, so let's get started. So when you open your case, you'll see that saxophone is disassembled in 3 major parts. We have the mouthpiece combo, which consists of the cap, which protects the mouthpiece. We have the mouthpiece, and then we also have the ligature, which has a big side and a small side. We'll dive into that a little bit later. We also have the reed, which we will get to in just a minute. The ligature holds the reed in place onto the mouthpiece. So the first thing you do when you open your case is you find your neck strap. It's just a strap with a little hook on the end. So find your neck strap, put it around your neck, and then once that's done, find your reed. The reed has an individual little case for it. Looks like this. Your reed case is either going to be one where you pull out from the side or you pull out from the end like this. You have to be careful regardless that you don't chip the tip of that reed. The tip of the reed is about as thin as a piece of paper. So you have to be really careful. I'm just going to pull out it really slow. Once you have it out, put your reed case to the side, and you want to put it in your mouth for about a minute. I'm putting the really thin part in my mouth. Be careful not to chip it on my teeth. And then I'm also doing the other side. So once you have your reed wet, you want to take your ligature off of your mouthpiece. And you'll see that your mouthpiece has a flat part called the table. Now, we're going to zoom in a little closer to see what this is all about, because this is a really important step in making the saxophone play at its best. Okay, so as you can see, the table of the mouthpiece is flat here. And what we want to do is we want to put the reed on that flat part of that mouthpiece or that table, and then we want to make sure the reed is all the way up to the tip of this mouthpiece. I'm just going to put the reed on the mouthpiece table, and I'm going to shift it up till it's almost level with the tip of that mouthpiece. Just going to try to get it approximate. We're going to get it exact later. And then once that's done, I'm going to put my thumb on the bottom, just like that. Now, once I put my thumb on the bottom, I'm going to put my ligature on next. So as you can see, my ligature is made of canvas. Yours is probably going to be made of metal. There's a smaller side here, and then there's a bigger side right here. The bigger side always goes on first, and I'm going to carefully put it on. All right. So now I just put it on until it stops, and now I have to make my 3 adjustments. So the 3 words we have to remember when we're adjusting the mouthpiece combo are table, tip, and ligature. First, the table. You have to look at the bottom here where the table is and see if that reed is lined up with that table. Do you see how that there's a part of the table right here and the reed is kind of kitty-wampus over here on this side? You don't want that. You want the reed to be lined up so that you can't see the table anymore, and you want it to be lined up on the top and the bottom. Once it's lined up with the table, you can go to the next step. The next step is to line up the tip. The tip of the reed has to line up with the tip of the mouthpiece. You can see that there's a gap there. What you want is for the tip of the reed to line up with the tip of the mouthpiece. This would be the reed is too high. You don't want that. And you don't want it to be down here either, too low. You want it to be level with the tip of that mouthpiece. Once it's level with that tip of the mouthpiece, you've got step 2 down. Moving on to step number 3. Step number 3 is the ligature. Do you see this half circle right here? That's called the cut of the reed. And the ligature has to sit right below that cut. If it's up too far, let me show you what's not right. If it's up too far and it's covering up the cut of that reed, you can't even see the cut of that reed. That's too far up. If you've got it way too far down, then you could see it way too high. It's right below the cut of this reed. All right, so now that you're done with all 3 of those steps, you have to double check and go through all 3 of them again, because usually when you go through this 3rd step, this ligature step, the reed moves a little bit, and so you have to double check the other ones to make sure that they're not misaligned. Once all 3 of those things are good, I tighten the ligature tight, but not too tight. You don't want to over tighten it. Just enough so that it's snug. All right, now we're ready to move on. Let's take the neck out of the case. So you take the neck out of the case with your left hand, and we're going to put the mouthpiece on with our right hand. We're going to put it on by pushing it and twisting it just slightly at the same time. And I twist it on until it's about halfway on the cork. All right, put that aside. And then we pick up the body of the saxophone. Now the body of the saxophone has a lot of keys on it, and it's important to pick up the body by the bell. The bell is this part, this big open part that doesn't have any keys on it. So I'm going to be careful to grab the body of the saxophone by the bell very securely and then put it on my lap. Once it's on my lap, I take my hook from my neck strap and I hook it into this ring on the side right there. So now it's hooked up. So now that it's hooked up, yours might have a cap here, like mine. We don't need the cap. So take it off, put it back in the case. Then what you want to do is you want to loosen this screw right at the top here, about 2 or 3 turns. 1, 2. And then we take our mouthpiece and neck combo in our left hand and make sure the reed and the mouthpiece are facing you. And then carefully put it down and twist a little bit back and forth while we push down until it's all the way in. So now that that's in the saxophone, we're not going to tighten the neck screw just yet because we have to adjust it. So now we put the saxophone to the right side of us. It should rest on our right leg. And now we have to make sure our neck strap is adjusted correctly so the saxophone will come to us. So right now the mouthpiece is going off this way. So I'm going to push it this way. And now it's to my mouth. If your neck strap is not adjusted properly, your mouthpiece will be too low like this or too high like this. Never move your head to the saxophone. Just look straight ahead and it should move right to you. If it doesn't come straight to your mouth, you have to adjust the neck strap so that it does. Now once you have it in the right position, you want to tighten this neck screw here. Again, don't over tighten it, just enough. So now I've got the saxophone assembled and we're ready to play. So the next thing we have to cover is correct embouchure. Embouchure is a fancy word that means the position of your mouth on the mouthpiece to produce a good sound. So first things first, the top of the mouthpiece. Your teeth, your top 2 teeth have to go on top of the mouthpiece in about the center of the mouthpiece. The bottom lip tucks in over your bottom teeth to provide a cushion for the reed. You should feel the reed on your bottom lip. Then put the rest of your mouth around the mouthpiece and then blow as if you're blowing through a straw. You don't need to know where your fingers go just yet. You can even hold on to the neck, as long as you make sure that this key on the neck doesn't come up. let's learn our first 5 notes. The first note that we're going to learn is called G. With the G, our first 3 fingers are down on our left hand. Now our left hand on the saxophone is laid out where our thumb goes on this circle on the back of the saxophone. Thumb goes on this circle. And then the key above it is called the octave key. My thumb rests on this circle, and it's also hovering over that octave key. So that's where my thumb goes on the left hand. And then the rest of my hand comes around here. My first finger goes on this first pearl right above the tiny one. We don't want to press the tiny one just yet. So the first finger goes on the one just above the tiny one. Second finger goes on the next pearl down below the tiny one. And then the third finger goes on the next pearl down. You might have one right above this top one, and it might be made of pearl or metal. Mine's made of metal. But the first finger, just remember, the first finger goes on the one right above the tiny one. And as before, like I said, to play a G, we need 3 fingers on the left hand. 1, 2, and 3. You'll notice that there's also keys that are under your palm. We're not going to get to those notes just yet. Just make sure you don't press them by accident. The right hand, you'll notice that there's a hook on the back of the saxophone right here. Your thumb goes underneath that hook. Your hand wraps around. First finger goes on this key, this first pearl. Second finger goes on this pearl. And third finger goes on this pearl. The pinky is in charge of these keys here. The left hand pinky is also in charge of a lot of notes. All these keys here. Okay? So, we have our fingers set in the right places. G is the first 3 fingers. Let's try it. So, first finger down, second finger down, third finger down. Not touching the tiny one. Here we go. No thumb key. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, so that was G. Let's talk about the sweet spot. Now, with any note on the instrument, your mouth has to remain in that exact same position. And that exact same position is the position your mouth is in for the note G. So when we play G, remember what your mouth feels like. That's your sweet spot. Remember. Now, if your sound waves back and forth like this, that means that you're changing your mouth. Keep your embouchure rock solid and you won't have problems with any other note on the instrument. If you don't keep it rock solid, you will have trouble with other notes. So just keep that in mind. Rock solid. So we already know G. Let's go to A. So for A, it's the same as a G, but we lift our ring finger. And we've got A. So let's play an A. 2 fingers down. 1, 2, ready, play. Next one, we lift one more finger, we lift the middle finger, and we've got just the top finger pressed down, and we've got B. Let's play a B. 1, 2, ready, play. Next, after B, we've got C. Lift that finger up. Let's push the middle one down. Again, we're not touching the tiny one, just pressing the middle one down, and we've got C. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay? And then the next one. All 3 fingers down on the left hand, all 3 fingers down on the right hand. We're using the right hand now. So 6 fingers down, all 3 on the left, all 3 on the right, plus the thumb key. And this is called D. Remember, rock solid. This is a lot of times this note is missed because your mouth is not in the right position. Don't change your mouth. Play another G if it helps you. Here we go. D. 7 fingers. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, so we just learned our first 5 notes. We also learned our sweet spot is G. So if ever you're having trouble with other notes coming out, low notes, high notes, whatever, go back to that G sweet spot, memorize how it feels so you can come back to it. Let's move on. We're going to move on to our blues now. We just learned our first 5 notes, and now we're going to learn our blues. Before we learn our blues solo, we got to learn a blues scale. And a lot of the notes in our blues scale we already learned, okay? Our first note in our blues scale is called G. So we already know how to finger G. Let's play a G. Remember, all 3 fingers are down. Here we go. Play a G. 1, 2, ready, play. All right. Now our next one is called B flat. B flat is almost the same as a B. Almost the same as a B. But now we get to involve this little guy here. So instead of just the first finger down for B, we're going to add this tiny one to it, and we're going to cover both of these pearls with 1 finger. Just like that. So first finger is hitting both of these keys at the same time. The big one here and the tiny one right below it. We don't do this with 2 fingers. 1 finger hits both of them at the same time. That's B flat. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay? Now, the next note is C. We already know what C is. C is the middle one. Let's play C. 1, 2, ready, play. All right? Let's play the first 3 notes that we've learned so far in the blues scale. G, B flat, with the little tiny one called the bis key, and then C. Okay? So G, B flat, C. 1, 2, ready, play. Now, let's learn the next note. The next note is probably the easiest note on the saxophone for your fingers. We don't press anything down. Now, even if nothing presses anything down, we still have our fingers close to the keys, ready to play other notes. Because if they're up here, it takes them a while to get back to the keys to play other notes. So they're ready, they're on the pearls, they're ready to press things down, but nothing is pressed down. This is called C sharp. Let's play C sharp. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, now we have 4 notes down. That's halfway through the blues scale. G, B flat, C, and C sharp. Nothing. So let's play those together. All 4 of those. G, B flat, C, C sharp. 1, 2, ready, play. All right. There's only 3 more notes to go. Next, we've got D. And D we already know how to play. 6 fingers down, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, with your thumb key. Here we go. Let's play D. 1, 2, ready, play. Now, let's play the blues scale all the way from G to D. So, G, B flat, C, C sharp, D. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. the next note is very similar to G. It's called F. So we finger down to G, which is 3 fingers on the left. And to get F, we add the first finger on the right hand. So 3 on the top, first finger on the right, and octave key, because we have to go up high. Let's play an F. 1, 2, ready, play. Remember, rock solid. Review G in your sweet spot if you need to. And then the last note is just 1 finger away from high F, and we've got high G. High G is the same as low G, except we just have the octave key pressed down. So 1, 2, 3 for G, plus the octave key pressed. And we've got high G. Let's play high G. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, so let's review. We've got low G, B flat, C, C sharp, D, F, G with the octave key. Here we go. Good luck. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, play. And there's our blues scale. All right, so that'll take you a few tries to get that down. Rewind the video as much as you need to practice that, because you're going to need to get that down before you get the blues solo underway. All right, so now we get to the blues solo. I trust by this point that you are good with the blues scale, that you know how to play it, and hopefully you have it memorized by now. With the blues scale, you can do a lot of things. All those notes were part of the blues scale. And all that was the blues scale. Let's just play it a lot faster. Now we're not going to play anything like that, but we are going to play something simple and bluesy, so you can memorize it and impress your friends. All right? So to learn this solo, I got to teach you some jazz terminology. A small little musical idea is called a lick in jazz. I know it sounds funny, but that's what it is. It's called a lick. And this solo features 3 different simple licks. The first lick features 3 notes: G, B flat, and F without the octave key. All right? Here's the first part of lick number 1. We have G, G, B flat, G. Here's how it sounds. Listen. Make sure you keep your mouth rock solid. Don't change it. Here it is again. G, G, B flat, G. And B flat, G is fast at the end. Let's try that together. 1, 2, ready, play. Now, if you're wondering how I'm separating these notes, I'm just forming my embouchure, and then I'm just saying a 2 sound with my lips. So my teeth on top, bottom lip tucked in. I say as I blow through that imaginary straw. All right? That's how I separate those notes. That's called tonguing. So that's the first part of that lick number 1. Now the last part of that lick number 1 is F, F, G. All right, let's try that last part. F, F, G. Here we go. No octave key. 1, 2, ready, play. All right, now let's play that whole lick number 1. Here's what it sounds like. Listen. All right, now let's play it together. Here are the notes again. G, G, B flat, G, F, F, G. Here we go. Let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds cool, doesn't it? We're not even getting started yet. Now, we've got lick number 2. Lick number 2 is similar to lick number 1, but we got a little bit of difference there. Now, lick number 2 starts on C sharp, and it just goes down the blues scale all the way to G. So C sharp, C, B flat, G. C sharp, C, B flat, G. Here's the first part of that lick. This is what it sounds like. And the B flat and the G at the end are a little faster. B flat, G. Listen one more time. All right, let's play that together. Here we go. C sharp, C, B flat, G. 1, 2, ready, go. And then we're going to end that lick with the same way we ended the first lick. F, F, G. So let's play that whole lick number 2, starting on C sharp. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so that is lick number 2. Now we get the final lick, lick number 3, and this is the easiest one. It involves 2 notes only, D and C. And that's it. 3 Ds and 3 Cs. Here it goes. This is what it sounds like. All right, sounds simple enough? Yes, you can do it. All right, let's try it together. So 3 Ds and 3 Cs. 1, 2, I'm ready, play. Now, we've got all the ingredients for our blues solo. Now we've got to put them together in the pot and cook it. All right, so we got to put them in the right order. The first thing we have to do is play 2 times on lick number 1. So let's try that. 2 times on lick number 1. If you need practice with this, memorizing it, rewind the video if you need to. Here we go. 2 times lick number 1. 1, 2, 3, play. Then we have 1 time through lick number 2, starting on C sharp. 1, 2, ready, play. And then we have 1 time through lick number 1. All right, now we go to lick number 3, 1 time, and then lick number 1, 1 time. So 3 1 time, and then 1 for 1 time. Here we go. Starting on the Ds. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, I know that's kind of confusing to memorize all at once, but once you get all those 3 licks down, you can put them in the right order. This is the way we can practice this. So we're going to play it together. You can just listen for this first part. And I'm going to show a 1 for lick number 1. I'm going to show a 2 for lick number 2. And 3 for lick number 3. All right? You can choose to listen or you can choose to play along with me. We're going to do this at least twice. Here we go. So we're starting with the first lick 2 times. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that one more time, and I'm going to put my fingers up so we can really jam. Here we go. One last time. 1, 2, 3, and. So I hope you had as much fun as I did teaching you the blues, teaching you the saxophone. Everything involved in playing the saxophone is a fun endeavor. And I hope you had as much fun as I did. All right? So have fun, rewind as much as you need to, practice hard, and we'll see you in the next one.